Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Serenity, your esoteric empress here. Thanks for joining today. Today we have a topic that is outside of the norm. However, it is so commonly heard around the world. People from all walks of life, of all ages, struggle with this phenomena. What is it? It's depression. There are so many factors that people say are coming into play when we hear that someone is suffering from depression. We all know somebody or have known someone who has struggled with this issue. Some people borderline depressed, some people just slightly. Even ourselves, we have dealt, I'm sure, with sadness, loneliness, anxiety, pain and suffering, psychological despair, summed up pretty much as depression. What causes it? Researchers, psychologists, psychiatrists, we all are trying to figure this out. Every day we get closer and closer to the answers, but in fact, it leads us back to the same truth every time. Some say it's imbalances, chemical imbalances in the brain. We lack maybe serotonin. These are hormones that are secreted by the brain naturally. And some people have a genetic predisposition to having chemical imbalances of these substances. Dopamine, definitely one of those feel-good hormones. Some people do not secrete at the level that they should. That is a healthy level. And so psychologists say they suffer from depression. Some people say that people have not the skills, the mental capacity to deal with certain issues of life. This is what causes sometimes depression as well. Some people are able to handle things better than others. Some people are raised in an environment that is conducive to communication, proper communication, love, self-love, being able to take yourself out of a situation, more so detach from a circumstance in order to see it from the other side. Some people have developed coping mechanisms. They take medications, antidepressants, sedatives, all of these things. Some people self-medicate, which is definitely not the healthy route to go. So there are so far found to be about 9 causes for depression and anxiety, 2 biological, and 7 of them other reasons. Really and truly, the way we live, the way we communicate, and the way we interact with others definitely leads to different forms of depression. What researchers and medical professionals have found is that antidepressants hardly ever work in the long term. They work immediately, and they seem like a ray of light, a ray of hope, like, wow, okay, we found a solution for this. But that's only short term. In the long term, they hardly solve the problem. A lot of people would say, if you ask them the question, do you have friends? How many close friends do you have? People would say they would count them off on 1 or 2 hands. Oh, I have many friends. I have this many friends. But if you ask them how many close friends, real, genuine friends they have, who they can call on during a serious situation or crisis, you will realize that by this time, the era that we're in, the year 2020, the answer is 1, but usually it's none. Who can you call on and confide in? Who can you call on and ask for help and say, I'm not in a good place right now. Can you help me? Or let's talk. Usually, it's going to be difficult. And so, one time ago, people could say 2 or 3, maybe even up to 5 people they could call on, whether it was family members or friends. But now, it's basically none. Everybody is so caught up and distracted with their own lives, their own struggle and problems, that life has become pretty lonely. And to live a healthy, well-balanced life, one needs to feel a sense of belonging. You need to feel valued. You need to have healthy, good, wholesome relationships. You need to have a sense of purpose, where you're going in life, direction. You need to grow. You need to see your life advancing and evolving to a different place, like you're elevating. Without these things, you feel stagnant. You feel like your life is not worth living. You look around and it seems like everybody else has more than you. Everyone else is doing more than you. You look on social media and everything is seemingly so perfect for other people that you start to sense that you're lacking big time. This is depressing in and of itself. But let alone if you're dealing with situations, you're grieving some sort of loss, you're grieving, some sort of hurt and sorrow from within, and you have no one to talk to. You're lonely, and you're just in your head. That chatterbox is going to keep on going, and it leads you down a dark, dark spiral, ultimately leading to more anguish and even a place where you think death is the only hope. So when you're stressed out and feeling really low, we know that the stress hormone is cortisol. The one they talk about on commercials, the one they say that makes you fat, that makes you stress eat, the one that actually, is responsible for depression and weight gain and anxiety. Loneliness increases the production of cortisol as well. If you think back to the beginning of humanity, to Africa basically, the motherland, where everything originated, there were tribes. When you think back to the Mayans, think all the way back, ancient civilizations, there were tribes. People were banded together. Everything that was done took place in groups. There was not a one-man army the way the world is set up now. Now, everybody is seeking this independent solo path, singling themselves out and separating themselves from the herd. Look at the pandemic that's happening right now. This thing is actually even doing that even more so, dividing us. Everybody must remain 3 to 6 feet apart. Wear a mask so that we can hide our identity. This is ridiculous. And it's going to lead to more depression, if we're not careful, that is. Loneliness causes depression and anxiety. I know this firsthand because I know someone who I talk about a lot on this channel who has spent many years depressed. They've spent many years alone by choice. This led to ultimately more sickness, that leading ultimately to more depression and despair. And so, like I said before, it's a downward spiral, a never-ending spiral, like a domino effect, just one after the other, of pain and sorrow, all going down the depths to hell. So, after listening to psychologists and actual patients who were suffering from depression and anxiety, clinical depression, I've come to a certain conclusion. The actual remedy or the cure or prescription that is going to take part in the resolution of this worldwide issue of depression, mainly so in the Western world, is to take part in group therapy. Formulate groups or join groups, become part of groups. Do things that actually involve other people in a wholesome way, not in an unhealthy way. Listening to different speeches, different persons' accounts of their experience with depression and how it was resolved for them, I found a little insight. The average British child, it says, spends less time outside than the average maximum security prisoner. Now think about this, because the average maximum security prisoner is allowed at least about 17 minutes, I believe, of outdoor activity. So if the average child spends less than that amount of time outside, they are being raised as prisoners in their own homes, leading to depression before they even hit the gate, before they're even near to adulthood. This age of technology, if we're not careful, is going to lead us to so many more psychological problems. Now, we know there are so many reasons, so many other reasons for depression, but this single one alone, loneliness, is a big one. We spend our lives watching TV. We go to work, we do our work, we drive, we go home. We sit down in the front of the couch, in the front of the television. We use our phones incessantly. We're online. We are using the tablet or whatever. We're on the internet. And we believe that we're having interactions with other human beings, when this is not the case. Social media is not social life. Social media is only a mimic of the real life connections. Because if you look at the 5,000 Facebook friends you may have, how many of them can you call on in a serious crisis? How many of them can you call on for help to come and take you somewhere if you really need to get there? To come and bring you food, to come and bring you a joke, a book, or something to just lend a shoulder for you to cry on? How many of them can you call on from social media? This is the situation that we're looking at right now. So exposure to nature is known now as a fact to help ease depression, not just from the natural sunlight, feeling the breeze, the gift of life that is all around you when you get outside, to look at the life for what it is and see that all that you have to be grateful for. There was an experiment done where there were a group of people who were in treatment for depression, and they all actually were set tasks to go outside and transform this deserted, dilapidated, like yucky looking alley, transform it, turn it into a garden. And as the time progressed, they had to help one another with their problems. They were able to communicate and share their experiences of depression with one another, offer each other advice as to how they were helped, how they helped themselves, and what they think were good suggestions for the others to actually find help, to cope. And what one person said was that as their garden began to bloom, their mental state and their relationships began to bloom. They began to bloom as people. This is remarkable because a lot of us feel like we can handle our problems on our own. We can deal with it, that we are mature enough to handle it, that we're tough, that we could face whatever life brings to us by ourselves. This could not be further from the truth. Finding support, finding people to help you in your time of need, this is what we were put on this planet for. This is why the world has over 7 billion people, because we are one. We are here actually to help one another. We're not here to cast judgment. We're not here to point fingers. We are actually here to lend a helping hand. And so today I just thought I would bring this message to you all, because I don't know what you guys are facing out there during this difficult time that we're in, but I feel like it is my duty to come to you with a bit of encouragement and enlightenment, to let you all know that there is hope and that we are indeed here for one another. I hope you have found some resonance in what I'm saying, and if you have, do hit like, do comment below and let me know your thoughts and feelings, as well as to subscribe to the channel, because we dive deep here and we talk about things that people are afraid to talk about. I'm not afraid. We definitely are the revolution, and the time is now, and so we have to face the truth. If we want to ever see the change that we wish to see, we have to be that change. In order to change anything, you have to first acknowledge it. And so thanks for watching today, and remember to stay strong and lend a helping hand to somebody who you know is in need. Till I come back with another great topic, I'm going to say peace and love. Blessed be. Namaste. Bye.